Hello everyone, and welcome to Scary Story. Tonight, I have a tale that will make you think twice before taking that shortcut through the dimly lit alley you always pass on your way home. It's a story about a young man named Leo who learned the hard way that some paths are best left untrodden. Leo was a creature of habit. Every evening after his late shift at the downtown bookstore, he'd walk the same route home. It was a long walk, nearly 40 minutes, but he enjoyed the quiet solitude of the city at night. His path took him past a narrow alley, wedged between an old brick warehouse and a modern glass-faced office building. It was a stark contrast, a sliver of the old city swallowed by the new. He never paid it much mind. It was just another dark, uninviting passage, smelling faintly of damp concrete and refuse. One Tuesday night, a storm rolled in. Not just rain, but a full-blown tempest with howling winds and rain that fell in thick, blinding sheets. The city lights blurred into a watercolor mess. Leo's umbrella was practically useless, turning inside out with every gust. He was soaked to the bone within minutes, his teeth chattering. As he approached the alley, a thought struck him. It was a straight shot, cutting right through the block. It would shave at least 10 minutes off his journey, 10 minutes he wouldn't have to spend battling the storm. He hesitated for a moment. His mother had always told him to avoid dark alleys, a classic piece of parental advice. But he was a grown man, and this was just a shortcut. What could possibly happen? Shaking his head at his own brief paranoia, he plunged into the darkness. The moment he stepped in, the roar of the storm muted, replaced by an eerie, pressing silence. The alley was deeper than it looked from the street, and darker. The single flickering bulb at the far end did little to pierce the oppressive gloom. The air was thick and still, heavy with a smell he couldn't quite place, something metallic and sweet, like old rust and overripe fruit. He quickened his pace, his footsteps echoing unnaturally loud against the wet pavement. He felt a strange sensation, as if the alley walls were closing in, leaning inward. He dismissed it as a trick of the light, an effect of the shadows dancing from the distant dying bulb. Halfway through, he saw something. A shape slumped against the brick wall. At first he thought it was just a pile of trash bags, but as he got closer, the form resolved into that of a person. An old man, dressed in tattered, old-fashioned clothes, sat with his head bowed, a wide-brimmed hat obscuring his face. Leo's heart hammered in his chest. Was he hurt? Unconscious? He cautiously approached. "Hey, sir, are you okay?" he called out, his voice sounding small and thin in the confined space. The man didn't move. Leo took another step closer, his hand reaching out. "Sir, you shouldn't be out in this storm. Can I call someone for you?" As he spoke, the man's head slowly lifted. Leo froze. The face beneath the hat was a pale, smooth mask, devoid of any features. No eyes, no nose, no mouth. Just a blank, porcelain-like canvas. Leo's breath hitched in his throat. A scream built up, but died before it could escape. He stumbled backward, tripping over his own feet and landing hard on the slick ground. The featureless face turned, tracking his movement. A low, guttural sound emanated from where a throat should be. A wet, scraping noise that vibrated through the alley. Scrambling to his feet, Leo turned and ran. He didn't look back. He ran with a desperation he had never known, his lungs burning, his legs pumping like pistons. He could hear the scraping sound behind him, getting closer, faster than seemed possible. The entrance to the alley, which had seemed so close just moments ago, now felt miles away. The walls themselves seemed to stretch, elongating the passage. It felt like he was running in place, trapped in a nightmare. He risked a glance over his shoulder. The faceless man was gaining, gliding over the pavement with an unnatural speed, its blank head tilted at an impossible angle. Finally, with a last desperate push, Leo burst out of the alley and back onto the main street. He collapsed onto the sidewalk, gasping for air, the rain plastering his hair to his face. He looked back at the alley's entrance. It was empty. The oppressive silence was gone, replaced once again by the roar of the storm. It was as if nothing had happened. Was it a hallucination? A trick of his tired, rain-addled mind? He wasn't sure. But the terror was real. His heart felt like it was going to explode. He didn't wait to find out. He ran the rest of the way home, not daring to slow down, not daring to look back. He burst through his front door, slammed it shut, and slid the deadbolt, leaning against the wood, his body trembling uncontrollably. The next day, the storm had passed. The sun was out. The city looked clean and fresh. Leo tried to convince himself it had all been a bad dream. He was sleep-deprived, stressed from work. That's all it was. He got ready and headed out, deliberately choosing his usual, longer route. As he walked, a morbid curiosity gnawed at him. He had to know. When he reached the corner, he stopped and looked down the alley. In the bright morning light, it looked completely ordinary. Just a narrow, dirty passage between two buildings. There were some trash cans, a few puddles from the rain, but no sign of the faceless man. Relief washed over him, mixed with a hint of foolishness. He had let his imagination run wild. He was about to turn away when something caught his eye. A small, dark object lying near the middle of the alley. It was a wide-brimmed hat, just like the one the figure had been wearing. It was old and worn, soaked through from the storm. A cold dread seeped back into his bones, colder than the rain had been. It wasn't a dream. It was real. From that day on, Leo never walked past that alley again. He took a completely different route to and from work, even though it added another 20 minutes to his commute. He couldn't even stand to look in its direction. Sometimes, on quiet nights, when the wind whistled just right, he thought he could hear a faint scraping sound carried on the breeze, and he'd see it in his nightmares, a blank, white face turning slowly toward him in the suffocating darkness of a forgotten alley. The story of Leo serves as a chilling reminder. We all look for shortcuts in life, ways to save a little time, to make things a little easier. But some paths are dark for a reason. They hold secrets and histories we can't possibly comprehend. And sometimes the longest way around is the only safe way home. So the next time you're tempted by that dark, quiet shortcut, remember Leo. Remember the pressing silence and the thing with no face. And maybe, just maybe, you'll decide to stick to the well-lit path. Thank you for listening to Scary Story. I hope you enjoyed this tale. If you have your own chilling experience with a place you wish you'd never entered, share it in the comments below. Stay safe out there, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more terrifying tales. Until next time, sleep tight, sleep